Shalom. This is some quick wisdom, and that's know when you're in deep water, right? Be able to recognize when you're in deep water or get to deep water, or else you're gonna drown. All right, that's something I was meditating on. We need to be able to know, be able to recognize and identify deep waters, because if we're not able to, we're gonna drown. You need to be able to know when you're in deep waters, recognize deep waters and whatnot, because if you don't, you might drown. Before I get into it, call Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Wahara Chakodash, double honors to the Holy like elder apostles and elder bishops at the Great Millstone Church. Shalom to all the Akim out here under the same doctrine, doing what they need to do in the order. Thus said the Lord, according to the scriptures, across the four corners of the globe, nonetheless, and regardless, and to the rest of the believers in on this faith. So yeah, really this something you can just use in life, period. But obviously, trying to learn the scriptures for yourself, and then teaching people, like scriptures say, reprove thyself first. And what's that? Is that Sirach? No, that's second Ezra, the 14th chapter. In fact, let me grab that real quick. Let's get that, for instance, because I don't want to butcher it. This is second Ezra 14 and verse 13. Now therefore set thine house in order, and reprove thy people, comfort such of them. So there it is. So that's dealing with pretty much you learning first, and then you going out to reprove, because you have to reprove first, or be reproved first, hence learn first, and know what's wrong in order to go tell somebody else. So it says comforts of such of them as be in trouble, and right, in order to be able to do that, you have to have comfort, right? You have to be able to bring comfort. It says, and now renounce corruption. So there you go. Scripture say learn before thou speakest and whatnot. And to back up what I was just saying, as far as you have to know how to reprove first, be reproved first, know what's wrong first in order to tell somebody else. This is an instance. This is Habakkuk 2 and 1 to prove this. I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. So there it is. And the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain. That he may run and read it. So, but first, that all started off with him being reproved first. So that's why he said, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. What you're going to tell somebody as far as right and wrong when you're reproved on these things, or tell somebody on tell someone something on what's wrong when you're told what's wrong. But anyway, so yeah. So and you got cases like that. Now, so this is good for that, like teaching. Like I said, you can also use this just for life in general. And that's what being able to identify and recognize when you're in deep waters. Because if you're not able to do that, you're going to drown. You might drown. This is Proverbs 20 and 5. Counsel in the heart of man is like deep water. See, counsel in the heart of man is like deep water. So those are deep waters. You have to be able to know yourself, understand yourself, know your weaknesses and whatnot. Because if you're not able to recognize those things, when those weaknesses or those spots in you that are able to be penetrated or whatever, so this is in the life senses, right? Instance, I should say. You'll be taken by those things. You know what I'm saying? You'll be taken out in those moments. The counsel in the heart of man is like deep water. Your mind, you got to be able to recognize how the mind works, right? Your mind is a deep water. If you're not able to recognize that, overthinking, the concept of overthinking, or the fact you may be someone that overthinks stuff, or whatever. If you're not able to recognize that, which is actually deep water, you might drown. That might be the very thing, you go out of, and that's really more so critical and concerning these scriptures. You know what I'm saying? Like these deep waters in the scriptures. Certain the scriptures is compared unto water. You know what I'm saying? So when dudes try to be too deep, really dudes be trying to be too deep in their mind. So or the mind likes to do that. The scriptures tell you, let me grab that. For instance, Sirach 37 and 14, for a man's mind is sometime wont to tell him more than 7 watchmen that sit above in a high tower. So this is dealing with, so pretty much you get a lot of thoughts. You know what I'm saying? Your mind go a lot of places. It's consider a lot of things, right? And I'll read on to the next. And above all this, pray to the Most High that He will direct thy way in truth, right? Because the heart is desperately wicked. Who can know it? So we come back to Proverbs 20 and 5. Counsel in the heart of man is like deep water. See that? So you have to be able to recognize that, when you get into certain scriptures and you, just for instance, you need to recognize this is a deep scripture, because you might end up, like for instance, you do a lesson on something simple, but you use scriptures that go further, right? They actually take more to actually, as far as expounding, to actually even make sense when you read them, or try to bring them out. And that might be too much for you to swim through. That might be a task you can't you're not able to do. So you sit there and continue on. That's like getting in deep water, and you're not even a good swimmer like that, man. You probably gonna drown. You don't put yourself in a situation where you might drown. So the best thing you can do is obviously stay away from the water, the deep waters. You know what I'm saying? But what it really comes down to is being able to identify, recognize, and know when you're in deep waters, whether spiritually, or physically. You know what I'm saying? Like spiritually regarding the scriptures, and then physically, which will still be spiritually, because it may not always be physical water. Like in instances, there's different situations in your life. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, counsel in the heart of man is like deep water, but a man of understanding will draw it out. Exactly. So you got to be able to pretty much, let me grab that word draw. Right, when you get that word draw, it's the blue letter. You got to be able, because I was going to say fish, right? The word in it for word draw in the Hebrew, you got dalah, which means, it says in Strong's definition, to let down a bucket, so you won't jump in. You know what I'm saying? You will move a certain way when dealing with it to be able to access what you need. You're not, because it's dangerous for you to just jump full blown in and just indulge in it. You know what I'm saying? Like, as if it's not dangerous, deep waters, as if it's not dangerous to do so. That's why it says the heart is deceitfully wicked above all things. Who can know it? Read, no. It says to let down a bucket for drawing out water. Figuratively, to deliver, lift up. Exactly. Draw water. Because you got to think, but you need to be aware. You need to be able to, you have to be able to go into where you're trying to pull from, like in a certain instance. Let me grab it. So when you get the word draw, it says in a second as a noun, right? Really is a verb. It says pull. The second one is pull or drag something such as a vehicle so as to make it follow behind But then as a noun, it says an act of selecting names randomly, typically by extracting them from a bag or other container to match competitive, right? So pretty much, um, what does this make me think of? Um, Basically, what it's showing you, drawing deals with a method of obtaining something. It's showing you basically what you understanding. Like when you trying to obtain something, you have to do it with wisdom, and that's considering. Ultimately, that's a part of wisdom, because the scriptures say a wise man. Let me grab that. Sirach 18:27. A wise man will fear in everything. See that? Because he understand you walk in the peril of his overthrow. It's easy to go off. So he'll walk in. If he's a teacher, right? He'll walk in fear when doing that. You know what I'm saying? Because he has to use his mind to teach. So he'll be fearful when it comes to you know putting his own thing on the matter, his own words, and you're gonna explain what things mean, but he's gonna be cautious when it comes to explain. He's gonna leave it plain. What's plain, plain, and like the Lord said, man, make it plain. Don't try to be deep. Don't be succumbing to your mind. Don't be foolish. But anyway, a wise man will fear in everything, and that's also in his physical life. Because just like when he's teaching, if he's a teacher, it's all like he knows what's deemed water, and he's able to recognize that basically it's water, man. Deep water, and in certain cases, you don't really want to be swimming in deep water. All water, you probably can't swim through. But I'm gonna just keep it simple. It says, "And in the day of sinning, he will be aware of offense, but a fool will not observe time." Exactly. So observe that's dealing with recognizing, identifying, paying attention. You know what I'm saying? You just picking up scriptures for a lesson, or going anywhere, or just going off and a tangent in what you think, and not even making sure you still on the topic, or if it's gonna be edifying, or if it's gonna, contradict, you know, you gonna you gonna be taken by those things, man. You know, that's how you're gonna fall victim. That's the very thing that's gonna overtake you, and you're gonna be swallowed up by. So that's basically the point. I ain't gonna draw it out in a bad sense. So yeah, this is something I want to share through the spirit. We have to be able to recognize when we're in. We have to be able to recognize deep waters. You ain't gotta be the best teacher, but if you're able to see what's deep, right, you will know. You automatically won't go off because you'll know to stay away from it. You understand your mind and what's going deep for you, right, or for others that may not be like you. You able to move. You'll stay away from it. You'll use your mind, but you'll draw it out. So I'll close here. Proverbs 20:5. Counsel in the heart of man is like deep water, but a man of understanding will draw it out. So call them like how about Shah Shalom.